Most people think you can't build a chest while traveling. That's wrong. In this video, I'm going to show you 12 different chest exercises that are quick and efficient and can be performed from anywhere. And we're only going to be using minimal equipment ranging from just using your body weight to bands and dumbbells. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Devin Ricker, and I'm a certified personal trainer with a master's in exercise science. And I've personally helped hundreds of busy professionals train to get their ideal physique, even on a busy travel schedule. So without further ado, let's dive into the first exercise. All right, so the first set of 4 exercises are going to be our body weight exercises. And we're going to just go ahead and start off with the good old-fashioned push-up. And I'm going to go through each one of these exercises and kind of tell you some tips and tricks that I give my clients that could probably be beneficial for you as well. So with a push-up, we're going to go all the way down to the ground right here. Now, if you don't have like a good surface, you could be in your hotel room or something like that. You could also get like a pad or a mat or something to put your hands on. So basically, you're going to start right here. Hands are going to be about shoulder width, a little bit wider maybe. You can see some people will do like a military style push-up where their hands are in closer, their elbows go back. But for our purposes, we're going to do kind of a general push-up that hits more of the chest. More of that military or more of the close grip push-ups will hit more of the triceps. So for us, I like to spread my fingers out, get more surface area. I'm up just like this. I try to make a pretty straight line with my body. And then I'm going to go down and then up. And you'll notice when I go down, I get as close to the ground as possible without actually touching. Just like that. I even think about my chin kind of going to the ground, because you'll see some people when they do a push-up, they'll kind of go like that with their head, right? But we want to get that whole body involved. And that's what's really going to help you hit that chest when you do it. So that's exercise number 1. Now, I know that might be too difficult for some people, and that's totally fine. And so what you could do instead is you could actually do it on your knees. And so that would look like the exact same thing, except your knees are just on the ground. You go all the way down just like that and all the way up. Now, that's one variation. Now, another variation leads us into our second exercise, which is going to be the incline push-up. Now, you could do that wherever. You could do this on a bed. You could do it on a couch. You could do it on a bench if you have access to that. But what that's going to look like is you're going to find some kind of inclined surface. I could do it here. I could do it back here on these. But we're just going to use this for now. I'm going to turn this around just a little bit so you can see better. Same hand placement. My feet are out just like that. I want a straight line with my body, so I don't want to push my butt up or be too sagging like that. So everything's straight. You're basically doing a plank, keeping my abs tight. And then from there, going down and then up. Down and then up. This is a great exercise if you don't have the place to do push-ups, or if you need to build a little bit more muscle before doing just normal traditional push-ups. So yeah, give that a shot, or the knee push-ups. So our next one that we're going to move into is the opposite. Instead of being a little bit easier than a normal push-up, it's a little bit harder. And I'll show you why. It's because we're going to do something called a deficit push-up. Now, I've got these little blocks here. You don't need these. You could use dumbbells. You could use books. Whatever you need to just prop your hands up just a few inches off the ground. And so what this looks like is my hands are in the same position where I'm wide. I'm outside of my shoulders. And then I'm going to come up just like this. I'm in that good kind of plank position. From here, I go down. Except instead of stopping where I would normally, at like right here, I go further, still close to the ground. All the way up, all the way down, all the way up. And what this does is it makes it just a little more difficult because it gives you a better full range of motion with that chest. So you're all the way, you're stretching it all the way. And you don't quite get that on a normal push-up. And so this is one of those exercises where you can just take that normal push-up and make it just a little bit more difficult. So if you've never tried a deficit push-up before and you really want to grow your chest and get it stronger, I really recommend doing these. Now, that leads us into our last push-up variation, which is the decline deficit push-up. So we did an incline push-up, but now a decline would be the opposite. So we had our hands on top of the box. Now we're going to put our feet on top of the box. And we're going to do a variation in which we still have these blocks. Now remember, you could do this with books or whatever you need. And it's going to look like this. So my feet are propped up, my hands are propped up, and now I'm going all the way down and all the way up. So why would we do that variation? Well, it changes up the angle just a little bit to where it's almost like doing an incline bench and you're hitting more of the upper chest with that angle. So if you want a really good solid body weight routine for your chest, I recommend doing something like a deficit push-up. Also, you could do, side note, you could do deficit push-ups on your knees as well. So that would be a really good kind of in between a normal push-up and a knee push-up if you wanted something in between. Yeah, if you want a full like chest routine, I recommend doing something like that, and it's body weight, of course, something like that, and then something where you're inclined maybe, and then something where you're flat and at a deficit. So that's all the body weight exercises. Now we're going to shift over and move into the band exercises. Okay, so now we're going to move into band exercises. So if you don't have a pair of these and you're traveling around a lot, I definitely recommend these kind of resistance bands. So this is a little bit different than the kind you might get at a PT where it's kind of a loop and it's just a little bit more rubbery and stuff, I guess. But this actually has handles and you can attach them, detach them, whatever. You could put different types of handles on there. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to use normal handles and a normal band. And then this is what's known as a door anchor. So you don't even need a gym. You don't need really anything other than a door to do these exercises. So with this first exercise we're going to do, this is the band chest press. So I have my anchor in here. And then you're going to find a door. Make sure it's really good and solid. And also, ideally, if you can, put it on the side of the door that doesn't like open towards you, if that makes sense. So like the opposite of what I'm doing here. And even if you have to do this like me, that's totally fine. Just make sure you give it a good tug. Make sure it's like really sturdy. So from here, this is the band chest press. So it's kind of simulating like kind of a bench press or a push-up. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn around. We're going to get in a good, what I call a power position, one foot in front of the other. And there's two ways you can actually hold this. You can hold it with the bands under your elbows, or you can hold it over the elbows. I kind of prefer over the elbows, but some people feel like it rubs a little bit too much. And then from here, my elbows aren't too high up, but they're not all the way tucked in. They're about halfway. So from there, I get a really good stretch in my chest. I push all the way forward and slightly down. You don't want to go too far up, otherwise the bands kind of get on your neck, unless you're holding it like this. So as you come back, you're going to really stretch forward, and then I come in as well when I do that. And then you're going to see with a lot of these band movements, there's just slight tweaks. But the one thing that's consistent is coming all the way back, getting a good stretch, and then all the way forward and getting a good squeeze. So this is the band chest press. Okay, so that's the first exercise. The next one, same setup. We set these up at about shoulder height, maybe a little bit above, a little bit below. The next one is a fly. So it's a slight difference from the chest press. So this chest press, we're actually bending at the elbow quite a bit. On the fly, we're actually not going to bend so much at all. You could do it with straight arms. I feel like that puts a little bit of tension on my elbows, a little bit too much. So what I do instead is just kind of act like I'm going to be hugging someone. So slight bend in the elbows. I get a really good stretch in that chest, just like on the other one. And then I come forward just like this. And I feel a good squeeze, a good stretch at the back. And then one thing you could do for an even additional squeeze is you could cross over if you wanted to. So, yep, just like that. Everything else is still the same. I'm still in a good power position, one foot in front of the other, like I'm about to start taking off and running. So just like that. Okay, so that's the second exercise. The third exercise is the band single arm fly. Now this one's a little bit different. So there's a couple of different ways to set this up. We're going to detach one of the handles, and this is one of the ways to set it up. Attach them both to the same arm, just like that. Now, this is my favorite way to do it. The other way you could do it is actually to attach the band onto itself. So you get just one side of the band coming out here. Now, that makes it like super loose, so it doesn't really work too well unless you have a super thick band. And by the way, these bands come in like pairs of 5s. So this is just the lightest for tutorial purposes. But this is a 10-pound band, but you can get all the way up to 50. And then on top of that, you can put all of them through for 150 pounds or even more probably. So this is the single arm fly. And so what you're going to do is, like I said, that's all attached to just one handle. And from here, I get a really good stretch. I can even twist to get a better stretch in that chest from there. And then from there, I come across just like that. And this is a great exercise for really feeling that squeeze right there. Like I can really feel that. And of course, I'll do it just like this. And then when I'm done, I'll turn around, obviously, and get the other side right here. Now, the way you set it up takes some, some adjusting. So you might want to be completely parallel. You might want to be a little bit more perpendicular to the door. Do whatever works best for you, whatever feels best. Okay, so for the last bend exercise, what I'm going to do is attach this handle back on. And there's different variations of each of these exercises. So we had the fly. So that was right here. They've all so far just been at about chest level. But what you can actually do is either put it down towards the bottom or put it up towards the top. So for this exercise, I'm actually going to put it up. So I have it more at head level. You can even go all the way up to the top if you wanted to. And what this does is it just slightly changes the angle. It's like if you're working with a cable stack or cable machine and you put the cables up versus down. So this way I'm actually hitting it from a slightly different angle. So now instead of coming straight across my body, I'm coming down just like that. So I'm getting a good lower chest exercise in like this. Now the opposite would be true if I put it at the bottom and I came up, then that would be really good for the upper chest. But yeah, so everything else is the same on this one. Going down, squeeze, back for a good stretch, down, squeeze. Just like that. All right, and so that is the fourth and final band exercise. Now we'll move into the dumbbell exercises. All right, so now we're moving into the dumbbell movements, and all you need for this are a pair of dumbbells and a bench, and you really don't even need the bench. You could do this on the floor as well, or like on a chair for some of these exercises. So what we're going to start with, though, is the good old-fashioned dumbbell bench press or dumbbell chest press. And what that's going to look like is I'm going to just grab these dumbbells, sit down with them on my legs right here, and then I'm going to kind of rock back into a lying down position. Now from here, just like the other exercises, I have my elbows slightly tucked in. They're not too far out, not too far in, slightly tucked in. And the dumbbells are going all the way down as much as I can stretch them out. And you'll notice my back is at it's kind of arching. It's kind of rounding right there. It's not just flat. So everything's tight right there. My chest is stuck up in the air. And so I can feel a really good stretch right there in my chest. And then from here, I'm going to press up and in. So just like on some of those other movements, you come down and out, good stretch, up and in, good squeeze. Just like that. All right, so that is the dumbbell press. Now what we're going to do is a dumbbell fly. Very similar to the band fly, where we kept our arm a little bit more straight and instead of like bending at the elbow. So we're going to slightly bend, but not too much. So we're going to start right here. Elbow slightly bent, and then I'm going to come down, and I'm going to have a really big chest, and I should feel big stretch in that chest right there as I go down as far as I can, and then come all the way back up for a good squeeze. This one's going to really focus mostly on that stretch right there. You won't feel as much tension here at the top, but that's why we're going down as far as we can and really working on that range of motion for the stretch. So here's what a couple of reps in a row would look like. Yep, and then when I'm done, I'll bring them down here, and then you could either set them down to the side depending on how heavy they are for you, or you could just simply get up with them. All right, so my next exercise, the next two exercises actually, are going to require an incline bench. Now, if you have a bench that inclines, that's awesome. If not, no worries. What you could do is you could sit like kind of on a chair with your butt forward, kind of leaning back just a little bit if you wanted to. Just make sure you're safe with whatever you end up doing. So this is what I would do here. Let's put it at a slight incline. We don't want to get anything too crazy. And then we're going to do the exercise that we started with the dumbbells is the dumbbell bench. So now we're going to do an incline dumbbell bench. So what that's going to look like, same exact thing, except now I'm at a slight angle. And so from here, I'm actually going to be working my upper chest instead of just my middle/lower and a little bit of my upper. This one's going to be targeted on the upper chest. So if you really want a good armor-plated kind of chest, you're going to want to make sure you're hitting it from multiple different angles. So from like a flat region to an incline region. Decline, you can hit it from there. Not quite as necessary, especially if you have a good arch in your back, because with that arch, you're going to be hitting the lower chest a lot anyway. So that's the third dumbbell exercise. Now let's jump into the last one, which is the dumbbell incline fly. So as you can imagine, it's very similar to the normal fly. The only difference is we're now at an angle and you can hit more of the upper chest this way. Now what I find is when I do a fly, you've got to make sure you're not too far up. You got to make sure you're tucked in just a little bit. And whatever you do, you just want to make sure everything is really comfortable and that you're feeling it in the right muscle. So in this instance, I'm feeling a good stretch, especially in the outside of my chest. So about right there, feeling that really good stretch right here. And you can play around with how far out you have the dumbbells. I find that the farther out, the more stretch, as long as I'm not like locked out with my arms. So I keep it somewhere around there and then I bring it up. And honestly, you don't even have to come all the way up. You could stop about right there when you start to feel the tension go. But yeah, so that's a really great exercise for your upper chest. And that actually completes all 12 of our exercises. So that's 12 different efficient and effective exercises that you can choose from, ranging from body weight, bands, and dumbbells. And you can use these wherever you're going, whether you're training in a gym or in a hotel. Pick the exercises that you like the most and stay consistent. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can train with me personally, make sure to check out the links down below.